knowing the goals, okay? The goals of the community organizing activity and or your experience. Ano ba ang gagawin mo? Bakit ka papasok ng community? Ano ba ang dapat maging experience ng mga bata? So before anything else, you will need to ask yourself the question. Okay? Wait na po, bumabagal siya. Okay? Before anything else, you need to ask yourself the question, what would be the different things that you need to consider before partnering with a community? Okay? Ano nga ba? Ano nga ba ang iyong titignan? Okay. Sabi nung teacher ko dati, si Famorca, sabi niya, before entering the community, first, you must gather initial data. Okay, lista nyo, wala to sa slides. Okay. Number 1, sabi niya, you need to do an ocular visit. Puntahan mo yung community mo. 1, ocular. Okay? Sir, bakit mo kailangan ng ocular? Eh, yun pala, 3 oras kang maglalakad bago ka makarating doon. So, it's not feasible. So, first, you will need to do an ocular inspection. Now, if the ocular inspection is not feasible at the moment, the next thing that you can do is you review the record. Saan po makikita ang record? Usually, all barangays have their own records, vital statistics, health records, etc. So, mag-review ka muna ng record. Baka kasi, hindi ka naman nila kailangan doon. Okay? Pangatlo, you will need to review an available profile, okay, of the community. Saan po yung nakikita? Usually, nasa barangay din po yun. Okay? Now, you could also choose a community if someone refers it to you. Referrals. Karamihan po ng community organizers, okay? Karamihan ng community organizers, they get their communities via referrals. Ano pong ibig sabihin nun? For example, ako ay community organizer. Si Ma'am Colleen ay community organizer. May nakita siya na community na hindi niya makater. So what she will do, she will refer it to me. Okay? Ganun yun. Referral. Or sometimes, like what happened in Fatima to us, the community was referred to us by a meeting from the LGU. So ano po yung 5? Ocular, review of records, review of the profile, referrals, at meetings with the LGU. Okay, ano tayo doon? Yon ang initial data na kailangan mong malaman, sabi ni Famorca. Sabi naman ng DOH, sa DOH madali lang. Pag ikaw ay pumili ng community, if you are going to choose a community, it must satisfy their criteria. Ano ang criteria ng DOH? Ang criteria ng DOH ay GIDA. G-I-D-A. What is GIDA? GIDA means graphically isolated and disadvantaged area. Ang gusto ng DOH, ang komunidad na papasukin at tutulungan po natin, the ones that we are going to help, is geographically challenged, meaning it's a remote area. We have plenty of that here in the Philippines. Okay? And since it's geographically challenged, usually, those are the areas that are disadvantaged, meaning napakahirap po doon sa lugar na yon. Okay? Yon ang criteria lang ng DOH. GIDA. Now, sabi ng DOH na favorite natin ngayon, okay, for you to be able to enter the community that is GIDA, you must ask yourself, unang-una, sila ba ay, or is their perception, kailangan ba nila ng tulong? Kasi mayroong community na mahirap pero ayaw matulungan. Okay? Yun po yun. The second follow-up question that you will need to ask yourself is, willing ba sila na matulungan o hostile ba sila sa tulong? Ibig sabihin, are they willing to get help or are they hostile towards the people who are going to help them? Bakit? That hostility might result in your threat to safety. That is the third one, safety. When you are going to help the community, you must not undermine the safety of the one that is going to do community organizing. Nakatulong ka nga, namatay ka naman in the process, so baliwala din. So your safety is paramount. So again, perception, okay, willingness or hostility, threat to safety. Number 4, okay. Sabi nung aming colleague dati sa nursing, si Sir Chito, kailangan pag ikaw ay pumasok sa community, ang community ay virgin. Anong ibig sabihin niya sa virgin? There must be no other groups that are in there. Wala dapat doon. Kasi kung for example, meron ng organizers doon, tas papasok ka pa, di ba? Parang sinusulot mo or kinukuha mo yung initial na work nila. So, dapat virgin ang community. Okay? Now, pag nakakita ka ng ganong community, tanungin mo din sa sarili mo, in the event that my organizing is successful, will the community, or is there a possibility that the community will have feasible partnerships? Ito bang community na ito ay pwedeng makipag-partner sa iba para mas umunlad pa sila? Yun po yun. Sir, paano po yun? For example, sa livelihood projects, yun bang gagawin nilang, for example, dito sa Antipolo, we have a community here that actually makes wind chimes. Kung hindi nyo po alam, nandun lang po siya sa mahinulugang taktak. Now, that community, although they have an existing way of making handicrafts, they are still poor. It is still not organized. Why? Kasi wala pong bagsakan yung kanilang ginagawang wind chime. Dahil wala silang partner. Dahil mismo yung community ayaw nilang makipag-partner. So, yung binibili nyo na nagpupunta sa school ng mga wind chime, scam po yun dahil doon galing yun sa hinulugang taktak. Yun po yun. Just so you know. Diba? So, yun ang kailangan nating isipin. Okay? So, gida and review your records. Kakaintindihan po tayo? If you have any questions, you just raise your hand. Okay. Now, when doing preliminary investigation, there are 4 things that you will need to consider. These are the social, political, and cultural, and economic aspects of the community. In community organizing lingo, these are called, or what we call, community structures. Okay? The first community structure that I will discuss is yung inyong social structure. Now, when you do preliminary investigation, you look at the social structure of the community. What is a social structure? This refers to your rules and expectations that people develop in the community. Okay? Now, these social structures, it is the one that regulates and manages their interaction with each other. Nakukuha niyo po. So, ito ang nagdidikta kung paano sila makitungo sa isa't isa. Now, these social structures are centered on addressing the basic needs of the people. So, usually, the way that they treat other people in the community basically dictates what they need in life. Okay? For example, kulang ang pagkain. So, ang social structure niya, nagbibigayan po sila. Filipinos are, known to be very, very generous with each other. So, yun po ang social structure. Okay? Now, your social structure when you do preliminary investigation can be explained by this particular model. O, diba? Dito sa nursing, simula nung TFN nyo, mahilig sila sa theory. Now, I was looking for a nursing theory that will explain the social structures. Unfortunately for nursing, we have very, very specific nursing practice theory. So, wala tayo sa nursing. Pero meron tayo sa ibang discipline, which is sociology. So, ito ang theory ni Parson. So, Parson explained the social structures. Sabi niya, it all begins in the center, which is the family. Why? Because in CHM, in community organizing, the family is the most basic part of the community. It's the basic unit of the community, and everything starts with the family. Now, that unit, the family, okay, it's going to interact with the 4 structures or the 4 different concepts. Yung politics or polity, yung religion, yung education, at yung economy. How do we explain this? Single arrow lang siya. Umpisahan ko sa family and politics. The family, okay, look at that. The family will give its loyalty and compliance to its leaders or to the politicians, okay, or to the system. Now, in return, the politicians, their leaders, will give protection to the family by means of their leadership. Ganun po yun. That's their what do you call this? Function. Okay? That's their interaction. Okay? Whereas, okay, eto naman, family and education. Okay? The family will send their child to be educated so that they will have socialized children. Now, the education system or the concept of education will then result in the teaching and the acculturation of their child. So, family and education, they interact. Di ba? Kayo, di ba, nung bata kayo, hindi kayo makontrol ng magulang nyo. Nung kayo ay pumasok, pag-uwi nyo, naging mga mababait na bata na po kayo. Di ba? That's the result. Whereas, family and religion, the family will have faith and will conform to the different religious organizations. And the religious organizations, usually their conformity will result in morality and in some instances, comfort. Diba? Kanino kayo humihingi ng tulong pag walang-wala na kayo? Diba? Sa Diyos. Diba? Ganun po yun. Okay? At the most important aspect for you to remember in the community is the economy. Okay? So, the family, in interaction with the economy, works like this. The family is the one that supplies manpower, labor, okay? Or they are also the consumers. The economy will give them the needed goods or the needed wages so that masustain or matustusan nila yung kanilang pangangailangan. Ganun po yung Parsons theory. This is the interaction, the institutional interaction. Okay? Now, this social structure will often result or is the result of social networking and groups. So ano yan? Ba't ang dami? In the community, you will see different social networks and groups. Okay? The most basic is the primary group. Ano nga yung sabi ko kanina sa inyo? Family. Okay? The basic social network and group is the family. Okay? So this is going to be composed of your family, your peers, and neighborhood clusters. O si ano, taga phase 1 yan, pamilya ni ganito yan. Ganun po sila mag-grouping. Okay? Your secondary groups are composed of different parties. For example, in the community, you will find different gangs. Yun yung mga gang, yung mga Sige-Sige Sputnik, ganyan. Mga fraternity. Yan, secondary group yan. What else? Political parties. For example, itong pamilya na to, bata to ni Cap. Ito, makakaliwa. Ganyan. Ganyan ang secondary groups. Okay? You will also find labor unions in the community if there are any present. So those belong to the secondary groups. Okay? Meron kang tinatawag na informal group. Informal groups are the groups of people that is bonded together by a common interest. Example, kung pumunta ka ng community, nag-ikot-ikot ka, yung mga tao doon nagbibingo. So ano sila? It's an informal group. Why? They are bonded by a common like, interest, and attitude, which is playing bingo from morning till hapon. Ganyan. Yun ang informal group. Okay? Whereas your formal group, on the other hand, is basically something, a group that is actually formed by community organizing. So ito yung basic fundamental group na bubuuin ninyo, which I will also teach you how to do in the coming meetings. Okay? At syempre, meron kang in-group. Pag sinabi nyong in-group, these are people who consider themselves members of the community. And out-groups are those people who don't consider themselves part of the community or those people who are transient, yung nakitira lang doon, nangungupahan doon. Or sometimes, these are the marginalized people. Ano yung marginalized people? Yung mga tao sa community na sobrang hirap sa buhay. Yun po yun. Or marginalized people can also include tribes, members of the third sex, etc., etc. Those are marginalized groups. All right? Now, in investigating your social structures, you will often see the social status. Ano ba yung social status ng individual when it comes to community organizing? Dalawa po yun. Ito yung tinatawag na ng ascribed status at achieved status. Pag sinabi ninyong ascribed status, ito po yung status mo sa komunidad na assigned at birth. For example, ikaw ay pinanganak na membro ng isang tribo. Kulot ka, maitim ka. So that is your ascribed status. Kumbaga sa amin sa Ilocano, ikaw ay pugot. Ano yung pugot? May native tribe kasi sa amin. Okay? So, pag doon ka pinanganak, automatic ikaw ay pugot. Bakit? Kasi ikaw ay member ng tribo. Yun ang iyong ascribed status. For example, in other countries like India, yung caste system nila. Pag pinanganak ka na paraya, yung untouchable, yun ang iyong ascribed status. Paraya ka forever. Ayan po yun. Whereas, in the modern time, okay, dati ganun lang. In the modern world, there is now such a thing as called your achieved status. Your achieved status is your status based on your merits and your achievements. Okay? Ano ang natapos mo? Ano ang nagawa mo? Ano ang iyong degree? That is your achieved status. So, pwede kang magkaroon ng ascribed status and at the same time, meron kang achieved status. Di ba, uso yun? Laging nanonews yung mga achievements ng ating mga tribesmen. For example, unang itang doktor. Ganon. Di ba? So, they have their ascribed status at the same time they have their achieved status. That is, ito po yun, trivia. That is the reason why in the province, makikita nyo, yung labas ng bahay, meron silang, for example, Brian T. Savillano, tas registered nurse. Tapos nakapako yun dun sa padya sa harap ng bahay nila. Bakit? They are trying to get out of their ascribed status. Para naman yung pamilya nila magkaroon ng sense ng achievement. Kaya makikita nyo sa ibang probinsya, kung 10 yung anak niyang nakapagtapos at pumasa sa board exam, 10 din yung nakadikit na plaka, 10 din yung tarpaulin sa tapat ng bahay niyan. Yun po yun. Okay? Next. Your status will also result in what we call social roles. Ano po yung social roles? These are your behaviors, your obligations in the community based on your individual status. For example, kung ikaw ay farmer, anong dapat mong obligasyon at trabaho? Magtanim, tama? Kung ikaw ay teacher, anong obligasyon mo at trabaho? Magturo. Kung ikaw ay doktor, manggamot, and so on and so forth. Those are what we call your social roles. So, sa community, ano ang social role ng nanay? Di alagaan ng mga anak nila. Ng tatay, buhayin ng pamilya nila. Ganun po yung social roles. Alright? Now, in your community, okay, another is what we call your culture, the cultural structure. All communities, regardless of where they are located, kahit pa lahat yan ay nasa Luzon, may iba't ibang kultura at pamumuhay yan. Ibig sabihin, all communities have an institutionalized way of life that they share, learn, develop in their own, and ultimately accepted by the members of that particular community. Diba sa Fatima, meron tayong sariling kultura. Antipolo ka, Valenzuela ka, Fairview ka. For example, sa Antipolo, ang kultura natin, magkatali tayo ng buhok pag nakita mo ang teacher mo. Diba girls? Bawal magkulay ng buhok sa Antipolo. Yan yun. Culture natin yun. Bakit? Kasi yun ay natutunan natin, na-develop natin doon, at inaccept ng buong mga taga-Antipolo. Yun po yun. I'm speaking for Antipolo as an example ng isang community. So that is the cultural structure. Now, when you look at a community and you enter a community, you will know that there will be different languages and symbols that they use in the community. Ang community, mayroong simbolo yan, na kanila lang at kanilang ginagamit. So, meron din po yung sariling mga languages or sariling wika like what you can see in the screen. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, the left side are symbolism for a tribe here in the Philippines, in Mindanao. Yan po yung mga nakikita ninyong tinatato nila sa kanilang katawan. Ayan po yun. May ibig sabihin pala po yun. Ayan po. Okay? Next, aside from symbols and languages, okay, we also have norms. Okay. In the community, they have what they call folkways. Pag sinabi niyong folkways, ito yung general standards of behavior. Sa isang community, dapat ganito ka umasta. Ganito ang iyong ugali. Okay? Meron din silang tinatawag na mores. Okay? Hindi morsa, mores. These are strict norms that control their moral and ethical behavior. Like sa isang barangay or sa isang community, meron silang sariling, kumbaga, set ng mga batas na sinusunod on their own. It's not written, but they follow it. Yun po yung mores. Whereas laws are prescriptive norms that are written. And usually they are promulgated in all throughout the land. Ibig sabihin, pinapatupad yan, nasusulat yan specifically. Okay, it's the difference between a mores and a law. Sabi ko nga, the mores is usually unwritten, but everybody knows it. If you do something na hindi acceptable sa kanilang mores, it's what we call taboo. Hindi ka tanggap-tanggap. Okay? For example, ano ang mga sa isang community common 'yon. Bawal mong syutain or asawahin ang iyong pinsan or kapatid, for example, di ba? That's mores. Okay? Wala sa law na bawal 'yon. If you read the law, wala 'yon. Okay? Pero sa community, hindi yun pwede. Nakaintindihan tayo. Yun po yung pinagkaiba nila. The law is very specific. Mores are actually very flexible and it would depend on the community that you are in. Alright? Now, aside from the norms, all communities have their different beliefs and value system. Kung sinabi niyong values, ano ang kanilang pinapahalagahan? What is their ideal principle of good, just, and desirable things or values or pag-uugali? Whereas their beliefs is what they hold collectively true. Example, sa belief, naniniwala ang isang community sa mga supernatural beings like Encanto, Duende, Capre, etc. Okay? So, values, naniniwala ang isang community na dapat ang kanilang mga anak ay mapag-aral at mapagtapos nila. Mahalaga at they value education. Yun po yun. And usually beliefs and belief system will evolve depending on their religious practices. Okay? Now, in the community, they also have their own rituals. Pag sinabi niyong rituals, these are procedures and ceremonies. For example, may mga community na laging may piyesta ng patron. Di ba? In a community in Pampanga, they have a ritual na ipapako ka sa krus. Ganon. In Laguna, may mga what we call penitensya. Ayan. In Antipolo, ano ang ritual dito sa Antipolo? Yung pag Holy Week, may tinatawag po silang alay, lakad. Those are the rituals of different communities. Okay? And all communities have different practices when it comes to procedures and ceremonies. A very good example of that, kasi Catholic tayo, yung salubong paglinggo. Di ba? Different areas, depending on the terrain, depending on their resources, have different ways of reenacting the salubong. Di ba? So, kung ang area mo ay mabundok, nakakartela or buhat-buhat nila yung Mama Mary at yung Jesus Christ na statue. Pag naman nasa along the highway ka, nakasasakyan yan. Di ba? May mga ganun po. May mga pagkakaiba depending on where you are. Okay? Next, communities have their own artifacts. So, different communities, they have a very, or an object that they venerate. Ibig sabihin, it has special meaning for the people. I saw this documentary in Jessica Soho the last time. Yung isang tao na uncorrupted or hindi naaagnas. So, that is actually an artifact na iniingat-ingatan nila kasi it holds special meaning to the people. Or for example, pinaka-common yung Nazareno, di ba? Artifact yun, yung statue na yun. It holds a very deep meaning for the people who believe in the Nazarene. Ayan po yun. Okay? May questions po ba? May questions? Wala.
Sir?
Sure.
Sir, may mga classmate po ako hindi makapasok sa Zoom meeting natin kasi nafu-full po yung room.
Okay. Ma'am Colleen. Si Ma'am Colleen. 100 lang. Di ba kasya
Yes,
tayo?
sir.
Di ba wala naman tayong
Yun na
100
nga eh, nagtaka din kami kanina ni Ma'am
recording? Okay. Again, artifacts are things that hold special meaning to the people in the community. All right. Now, another structure that you will need to look into during your preliminary investigation is the political structure. Napakahalaga po ng political structure sa isang community. Okay? Ano po ba ang political structure? Pag sinabi niyo pong political structure, these are their ways of allocating power, either by appointment or election. Why? Because their politics play a very important role in the decision-making prowess and the running of the community. Their leaders are the one that manages community affairs. They don't just lead, they manage actually. Kaya nga ang ating politics ngayon, at least meron ka man lang naaral kahit konti. Hindi yung pwedeng no read, no write ka tapos maging barangay captain ka. Hindi po. There is a minimum requirement for you to be a politician. Hindi lang siya puro what they call this, fame, di ba? Yun po. So, because they manage community affairs. All right? So, when it comes to your political structures in the community, political organizations play a very important part, especially when you are dealing with people. Kasi kung minsan may mga political affiliations yan na kanya-kanya. Pag sinabi niyo political organizations, these are the people in the community or groups in the community that are engaged in partisan politics. Ibig sabihin ng partisan politics, magkaka-rivalry yan. Okay? So, for example, ako ay pro Inares. Hindi ano yon. Example lang. Ako ay pro Inares, yung isa ay pro Gatlabayan. Ganyan. So, pwede po bang maka-apekto to sa community? Yes, you definitely will see this effect in the Philippines. Why? The project of the incumbent mayor is trying to erase what the previous mayor did. O, di ba? Kahit sa presidente, ganun din. Yung presidente ngayon, pinipilit niyang kalimutan ang mga nagawa ng presidente dati. That is the way it is in the Philippines when it comes to politics. O, di ba? So, mahalaga pong malaman yun kasi kung nafe-feel ng isang group na ang ginagawa mo ay pro sa kalaban niya, hindi po yan susunod. Alright? So, yun po yun. Next, in the community, okay, we have what we call citizenship norms. Pag sinabi natin citizenship norms, these are their perception on number 1, politics, policy, and society. Sa isang community, meron po silang ideal na politicians. Ayun po yun. They have this ideal na ito dapat ang aming leader at ito dapat ang aming iluklok sa pwesto. Okay? Meron din silang ideal na policy. For example, there are some communities, they want their communities to be very, very strict. For example, curfew. Gusto nung iba, honestly, may curfew. Iba naman, gusto nila lax ang kanilang community. Okay? So, expectation nila yun eh. Next is society. Okay? May mga community na sobrang participative sa mga activities. May mga community naman na walang pakialam. So, what you want as a community organizer is to get a community that has a good sense of political, okay, policy, and society. Bakit po? Kasi sila mismo magiging proactive po sila sa mga inyong projects. Okay? Citizenship norms. Okay. Now, there are also what we call power relations. In the community, hindi nawawala ang power relations. You look, sino ang mga grupo dito na dominante? Ito ba ay pinamumunuan ng mga taga-syudad o taga-probinsya? So usually, dominant groups are those people who are in control. They are usually the majority. Whereas the minority are those people who are subordinate to the majority, to the dominant groups. For example, yung example natin kanina, yung mga marginalized, okay? Or these are the people na walang boses. Example, the Philippines is mainly a patriarchal country. meaning we adhere to the decisions of the father, okay? Or sa lalaki. Oh, yung mga feminist, huwag kayong ganun talaga sa Pilipinas, di ba? So, therefore, ang dominant group ay ang mga lalaki at ang minority group, mga babae. Although mas madami ang babae, but our culture is ganun. Patriarchal siya. Lalaki talaga ang nagde-decide. Okay? So, dominant and minority groups. So, kailangan po nating malaman ang power relations. Bakit? Makakaapekto kasi yan sa inyong mga community projects at sa inyong community organizing. Okay? Now, the power structure in the community would depend on it being a pluralist. Ibig sabihin, pag pluralist ang isang community, there is a harmonious distribution of the centers of power. May mga leader na nakaupo sa taas na umaayos ng inyong komunidad. For example, nandiyan si governor, nandiyan si mayor, si vice mayor at mga konsihal. Okay? Meron namang mga community na egalitarian. Usually, wala yan dito sa Luzon. Nasaan yan? Nandoon sa far-flung areas ng Visayas at Mindanao. Yung mga tribesmen ninyo, okay? May mga pamilya dyan sa Mindanao na nasa kanila ang power. Yung mga datu, kung tawagin ninyo. So, they are the ones that control the community through their families or through themselves. Okay? Meron naman tayong tinatawag na factional. Ano yung factional? Ito grupo-grupo. Si Group A versus Group B. So, the power resides in them. For example, sa states, Republicans tsaka Democrats. Ayan, faction yan. Okay? Sa mga magugulong community or sobrang liit na community, meron tayong tinatawag na amorphous power structure. Ibig sabihin ng amorphous power structure, walang power structure doon. Kakaintindihan tayo. In the Philippines, the separation of powers is a very good example of the power structure here. Legislative, executive, at judicial branch. Diba? Yung House at Congress, yung House ng Congress, ng Senate, tapos yung executive nyo ay yung President at yung judicial nyo ay yung DOJ or yung Korte Suprema, kung tawagin po ninyo. Okay? Those are the power structures in play here in the Philippines. Now, leadership structures are also very important. Bakit? Kasi ang unang-unang contact at kakausapin mo talaga dyan ay yung leaders niyan. Yung formal leaders. Okay? Wala dun sa slides. Ang formal leaders are those who are elected by the people. Usually, yan yung mga kapitan, mga kagawad, etc. Informal leaders are those leaders in that particular community na although they are not elected, people listen to them. Yun po yung informal leaders. So when you become community organizers, it is very important for you to be in the know kung sino ang dapat mong kausapin, sino ang dapat mong hingan ng approval pag ikaw ay magpa-project or mag-o-organisa. Okay? Now, when it comes to leadership structures, there is a top-down leadership. From the top, all decisions are from the top, from the barangay captain, for example, going down to the kagawads. Okay? Yung egalitarian naman is horizontal leadership. Ano yung horizontal leadership? Usually, pantay-pantay po yan ng power. Ibig sabihin, for example, ang pinakamaganda dito, sa mga tribo, meron silang mga tinatawag na elders, yung mga matatanda, the wise men of the tribe. So, those elders have equal power, equal rights to decide. Yeah? Kung maalala nyo ang history ng Pilipinas, di ba, yung mga datu natin na nakipaglaban sa Kastila, egalitarian po sila. Okay? Yan sila datu puti, etc. Di ba? Sila humabon. Magkakapantay yan ng kanilang powers. Walang top-down yon. Pero ano ang common ngayon? Because of our political system, hierarchical po tayo. Okay? Next. The last structure is your economic structure. Pag sinabi niyong economic structure, this is referred to as the ways and means of how the community produces goods, how the community gives its services, and how they allocate the limited resources that they need. Also, and the most important definition of your economic structure, is how does the community generate wealth? Ano ba ang pinagkakakitaan nitong komunidad na ito? Diba? Yun ang lagi niyong tatanungin. Meron bang pinagkakakitaan ang community? O kung wala, isa yon sa magiging trabaho mo pag ikaw ay nag-organisa. Siguraduhin ang community ay kumikita. Okay? So, next. Ayan. You investigate on their capital assets. What are capital assets? Yung community, hindi lang pera ang usapan. Minsan, may mga community na walang salapi, ngunit madaming skilled workers. So, meron silang human capital. Okay? Meron din silang social capital. Meron silang natural capital like your natural resources. Meron silang physical capital at yung iba, mayaman na community, financial capital. So, tingnan nyo, when you are organizing, you look at what the assets of the community are. Why? In the future, you could either develop on what's there or you could help them get kung ano ang wala sila. At usually, pag community organizing, ang ating pinapatibay ay ang kanilang capacity. Okay? Because in organizing, what we want is the sharing of resources. Okay? Next. Meron tayong tinatawag na vulnerability context. Ano yung vulnerability context? Ito yung pwedeng makaapekto sa kanilang kabuhayan. Okay? Una, pwedeng makaapekto ang mga natural disasters. Kung, for example, ngayon, yung mga nakatira sa gilid ng Taal. Di ba? Usually, those are fishermen. And their financial state is affected by the eruption of Taal. Ganon. What else? Seasonalities. What happens during the different seasons? If one, for example, is a farmer, okay, at tag-ulan, hindi yan magtatanim. Bakit? Kasi masisira po ang kanyang crops. Ganon. So, lugi na agad. Diba? They are vulnerable because of the seasons. What else? Critical trends will also play a part in the vulnerability context of their economics. Okay? For example, sobrang kurakot ng mga namumuno sa kanila. They have poor governance. Diba? In the Philippines now, we have an inflation going on. What else? Their demography is challenged. Ibig sabihin, walang roads. Diba? Kahit meron silang napoproduce na bigas, hindi naman nila yon na i-export or nadadala sa bayan kasi wala naman silang dadaanan. So those are the different vulnerability contexts that you will need to investigate. Okay. When talking about the economy, you also look at the business climate of the community. Ano ba yung business climate? It refers to the laws and regulations. Ito ba ay friendly for business? Kasi may mga tao na gusto naman umangat pa at mag-business, pero yung komunidad nila mismo ayaw silang payagan or hindi conducive sa negosyo ang kanilang community. Kasi, for example, nag-business ka, yung VAT, 30% for example, ang nakaset. Di ba masakit? Malulugi ka. It seems like you are just working for the government na pag ganon. Okay? Ayan. Next is trade. Pag sinabi nating trade, ito ang lagi niyong nakikita sa community. Small, medium, or even large-scale enterprises and business activities. Okay? For example, in phase 2 of Sitio Kakalog, their trade is tinapa. Ayan. So makikita nyo sa tabi ng estero, nakabilad yung mga tinapa. Kaya pala masarap yung tinapa kasi ano siya, exposed. Diba? Yan po yun. So that is their trade, making tinapa. Yung iba naman, usually vendors, yung iba sari-sari store. Yan, si Manong nag-ice cream, etc., etc. So, usually, people generate wealth in the community by doing trade. And in a lot of times, as community organizers, what we want them to have as skills is a skill that will help them in their trade. So, turuan nyo silang mag-bake, di ba? Kung dati ang tinitinda lang nila ay pandesal, ngayon pwede ng ube cheese pandesal. Ganun. Kasi tinuruan sila, for example, ng HRM o mga ganong trade. Dahil nagpunta doon ang nursing, naging health conscious sila, pwede na nilang maging trade ngayon ang face mask at face shield. Diba? Ganun po yun. Okay? Now, okay lang kayo? Oo, sorry, lumagpas tayo sa 35 sa akin. Okay. For you to be able to appreciate what I'm talking about, the thing that you will need to do talaga is for us to have a visit in a community, a chosen community. Unfortunately for us, because of the protocol that is in effect nowadays here in the Philippines, we cannot do that. So what me and Ma'am Lina and Ma'am Colin did was to search for something that would help with the experience. And I found this in YouTube. I actually watched this in Channel 7 before, but I found a copy in YouTube. Okay? As your activity for Module 1, I would want you to watch Vitas ng Tondo. Vitas ng Tondo is a documentary by the award-winning Jay Taruk. Okay? And it shows a community, okay, in the slums of Tondo. Now, I would want you to apply what I have taught you, what we have discussed today, okay, and identify, explain the different social, cultural, political, and economic structures found in Vitas ng Tondo. Kakaintindihan po tayo? Yun po, yung activity nyo lang. Okay. The documentary is more than, I think, 30 minutes. 35 ba yun, Ma'am Colleen? 35 siya.
Sir.
Oo. So, kung 35 minutes po siya, siguro i-ano na lang natin siya. What do you call this?